For most of us at the start of a fresh week, we need some inspiration. Our next story would inspire you to also pick something that you can do to change your communities. You know, parents all over the world work hard and brave the odds in order to give their children a good and comfortable life. But this next story you're about to watch is a tale of two parents who brave the odds in order to give hope to homeless children and children born to mentally ill mothers in the Upper East region. Felix and Mary started the God's Love residential home in Bolgatanga out of their compassion for less fortunate children. But when an infant was killed by her mentally ill mother in cold blood, the couple decided they would rather begin to rescue as many of such children as possible and give them a better chance in life. Here's a story by our Upper East regional correspondent, Albert Sorry.
The joy of family. This is the God's Love residential home in Bolgatanga in the Upper East region. Founded in the year 2003, this home for less privileged children started from a two-bedroom apartment. Today, it is home to over a dozen children who are either orphans or are from less privileged homes. Mary Akampoi and her husband, Felix, started this home out of their compassion for these children. The aim was to help these children, give them some hope and a better chance in life. But they later decided to shift more of their focus to children born to mentally ill mothers. The reason behind this motivation was a rather sad story.
There was this mentally sick mother whose child was crying so much. All the women around were wailing at her to feed the child. She kind of got frustrated and just took the child out and hit the head against a rock in the market. And the child died instantly. And so this was something that drew our attention to the fact that this class of children need extra care.
Later in 2008, a philanthropist by name Alan Cameron from Jersey, through his organization Island Aid for World Children, supported them to put up this present apartment to house these children who have nowhere to go. But for all this support and the determination of Mary and her husband, these children here could have been without homes and without any hope of a bright future. Among them, this one-year-old set of twins whose mother was mentally ill. These boys were rescued because their pregnant mother was discovered by a good citizen who realized she was mentally unwell and drew the attention of Mary and Felix to her.
We went to her rescue, traced through to get her family, took her to the hospital, and the good news is these two you see today.
Mary says the mother is gradually responding to treatment.
After delivery, we followed up with her on her medication, and today she is very close to normal. She comes here on her own to visit her children. And our happiest day will be the day mother and her children will reunite as a family.
There are 11 children currently in the God's Love residential home. Another 13 are being taken care of by the home, even though they do not live here permanently. Over the years, dozens of less fortunate children have come under this roof and gone on to become responsible adults in society. Rebecca Akomse, now a teacher, was once a child not too sure of her future until she was rescued by the God's Love residential home.
I lost my mom when I was not up to 8 years. So basically, they started taking care of me when I was in the junior high school. To me, I saw them and I still see them as my parents, God-given gifts, because what they always do for us, you can't imagine.
Like many charity organizations, God's Love Residential Home survives on the benevolence of kind-hearted people and the sacrifices of people like Felix and Mary Akampoi. But donations alone are sometimes not enough.
We also have a few times where some particular individuals may give us a donation, and this also helps us. But it is not consistent. It is not consistent.
This mentally sick mother, pregnant mother, she put to bed through cesarean section. But surely if she was left on the street, that would have been impossible. Today we have these two handsome boys. This is simply what we are saying. That together we can all make the world a better place.
For now, Mr. and Mrs. Felix Akampoi and these children will hope for a great future as they go through the journey of life together as a family, one step at a time. For Joy News, Albert Sori, reporting from Bolgatanga.
And from Bolgatanga, we're joined by Felix, who you saw him in that story there. Can we say good morning to you? Show everybody your face. A very good morning to you, Felix. Thank you so much for joining us live on the AM show. Hello, Felix.
Listening to this program.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Well, thank you. You know, when Albert first told me about your story, I thought, okay, it would be good to share it on a Monday when people are looking for inspiration here and there so that they can start their week. But tell me a little bit about yourself, you and your wife, Mary.
Well, just as you mentioned, I'm Felix Akampoi.
Yes, Felix.
I'm a teacher by profession.
Okay.
And my wife, Mary Akampoi, is also a teacher by profession. And from the story, we heard that we started separately. When Mary was single, she did a lot for so many people, especially children, especially when she had her experiences with the way women who had mental issues treated their children. That experience gave her an idea that somebody needed to take care of children born to this mentally derailed woman. And so that was how she began. And she had already done a lot of things with children even before I met her. And also separately, as a single person, I was also having these children in my school that I used to take care of them. And so when we met, we realized that we shared similar visions. We decided to come together and we put up the programs together. And these projects ended up becoming one, where we could join forces to give smiles to these little children that we realized that they had no place in society.
So I listened to Albert talk about the fact that you rescue children who have mentally ill mothers. What happens to the fathers?
Well, it is difficult to talk much about the fathers because most of these women we talk about, I think if you come to the northern part of Ghana, especially in the Upper East region where we live, we realize that you find a number of women always roaming in the streets, especially of Bolgatanga and some of the smaller towns. Most of these women, you see them sleeping under uncompleted buildings or just on the open street. And most of them end up becoming pregnant whilst being there. They give birth to children, and it's always difficult to trace their fathers. We do not know those who are responsible for such pregnancies. And so it is the women that we are able to always find. And that is why our concentration is always on the women. But the fathers, it's difficult to really trace them.
Yeah, I can understand. So what happens to the mothers afterwards? So let's talk about the twins, for instance. The twins that you say the mother was ill when somebody discovered that she was pregnant. So you had to help the babies. I see Mary behind you. Hello, Mary. I'm not sure she can hear me.
She's hearing you.
Okay. Mary, God bless you for what you do. Thank you so much. This is so inspiring, I guess, to the rest of us, so we can also find something to do to help society. But I was asking Felix to tell us about the twins. What happened to the mother?
Yes. After discovering their situation, we followed up just as you read from the story. We took her to the psychiatric unit of the nearest clinic. And that was how it started. We had these two psychiatric nurses that gave us assistance even before she gave birth to the children. And after she gave birth, the hospital realized that she could not handle the children. And so they decided to separate them so that the children could have a better care. And from there, we started working with the psychiatric nurses. We had to provide drugs for them, and they took care of her. And from the story, Mary indicated that when you look at her now, she's very close to normal. And so that was how we were able to take care of her. And she became well. As at now, she's very fine. She can, when she talks with you, you wouldn't know that she had ever been there. And so that was what happened.
So Mary, if Mary can say something to us, can Mary also, Mary, so what happens to these children? Do they stay at your place till they're old enough to be on their own? Hello, Felix. Did you get the question? I'm asking how long the children.
For some, the family members will usually follow up, and then we are able to reunite them. We are able to reunite them back to their families. But for some, social welfare will have to adopt them out to families that will need children, because it's very difficult actually to trace some of the families. And then because of culture, some are really not accepted by the mother's families. And so they just come to say that you can have them do whatever you want with them, we don't need them. In such a case, we report back to social welfare, and social welfare will put them up for adoption.
So how many children do you have passed through your care so far?
Actually, we have not taken record of so many of them until we started recording. And so we have over 50 children out there that we have taken care of that are on their own. We have actually been on the secret note for a very long time, trying to do our own thing, partly because we believe what the right hand is doing, the left hand should not know. And then also of the fact that their mothers are not well, and society, anybody can easily tell them your child is in this home. and then they will come harassing us. And so for that reason, we have been on the low side for a very long time now, until Mr. Chris Akuba decided that no, it is time for us to actually bring out this project to the world, so that those who are like minds with us will come in to support, and then we can make it bigger. As we speak now, we have 6 children out there, but we cannot let them come home immediately because we are lacking mothers.
When you say, Mary, let's stay with this issue. Let's stay with this issue. When you say you have 6 children that you can't rescue, are they ill? Do they have mothers who are also mentally ill?
Yes, they have mothers who are mentally ill, and they are sleeping with them in the cold. Sometimes I get emotional when I talk about some of these things. They are lying with them in the cold, and newborn babies are part of these 6 that we are talking about. And we really love to bring them home, but you just have a few mothers, and you need to employ more, but then you have to pay them. And as you can see, private schools are closed down. That is our main source. And so it is a kind of a difficult situation for us now. Yeah. And I think this is just so timely for us as a project.
Yeah, so I was just going to, so you and Felix still teach. You're only home because schools have closed.
Yes, please.
Well, what kind of, and this question is for me, personal. You know, sometimes we want to do something aside what we do in terms of the formal work, but there's always an excuse of not having time. How do you manage it? Because you're married and you're also professional teachers, and then you take on this. What kind of toll does this have on you?
Yeah, it's quite a heavy one, but when God calls you, he gives all the necessary graces you need to be able to carry on. So Felix and I have a lot on our hands, but grace has always taken us through.
Let me just, because I started this conversation with Felix, so let's go back to him. I don't want him to be left out of the conversation. Felix, how long have you been married?
We have been married since 2003, 17 years now.
Oh, great. So do you have children? I know you have many other children, but do you have children?
Sure, we have our own children. We have 5 children.
Okay. And do you live in the same compound with the other children?
Yes, we live in the same compound, but because of the growing numbers, we had to move out and then put up a smaller apartment so that we could stay in there, and then would stay in the main facility where the children are.
Okay. So what kind of support, because, you know, I can't stand the fact that their children, their newborn babies who are out there with their mothers because they're mentally ill and they don't have a home. And because you're restrained or constrained, you can't bring them in. What kind of supports can people give you so that you can have a lot more of these children live with you in a safe environment?
Thank you very much. I think when we are talking about support here, just as Mary indicated, one of the main issues has to do with feeding. Many times when the children come into the house, by the time they are getting into the home here, a number of them are always seriously malnourished. And sometimes you need to do a lot of work to be able to restore them to their normal health. Because you have them that will always miss the mother's milk, which is what is supposed to give them all the nutrition that they would need. And because they don't usually get it, sometimes when they come in here, it is always a very bad situation. And so the milk for these babies And sometimes we have to get special nutrition for children that are not in their best of health. Aside the feeding, we have to employ women who would have to stay here 24 hours. Sometimes they have to stay here for as long as a whole 1 week or even 2 weeks before they can move. And sometimes this happens because the women that work are not many. And so if we're able to get financial support, we would employ more women that they can give them the best of care. We need other things that will also make the lives of the children, very comfortable.
Yes. Hello, Felix. Are you okay?
Yes, I'm all right.
Okay. I see that people are reaching out to you already because they've seen you on television. So before I let you go, just where can people find you if they want to support you?
Yeah. Our location is in Bolgatanga and a suburb of Soy. That is where we can physically be located. Aside that, people can also reach us through our email. We are yet to develop a website, which will hopefully come soon. But we are also on Facebook, and we have our lines that people can also call personally to inquire.
So just give us the name on Facebook and then the email address. I guess that would do.
Yes, the Facebook is Cameron School Complex and Orphanage.
Okay. Can you say that again?
Yes, Cameron's School Complex and Home and Orphanage.
Okay. All right.
Because we have kept the two together, the home and then the school, because they move together.
Okay. All right. Great.
So we developed a common Facebook for the two.
Let me have Mary say the last thing to me before I let you go. Mary, I just need some ideas. Maybe we can't rescue children whose mothers are mentally ill, but if somebody is looking for an extra something that they could do to help make the society better, what could they also do?
Yes, thank you very much. You can play a lot of roles in this whole thing. When you see them out there, you could be of assistance. At least ensure that these babies do not die out there. Give us a call and let's come to their rescue. This is Earth. I know we will have enough space and the financial support to be able to take in a lot more. And so when you see them and you cannot give financially, at least you can give us a call or a text message that a child is at risk, a mentally ill mother is here. And then we can liaise up with the social welfare and come to the aid of that child.
Okay,
Thank
great.
you very much.
All right, so just give us the phone number. Is it you who will give us the number or Felix would?
We have the phone numbers 055 2111 867 and 055 148 6711. People can reach us through these two numbers.
Okay. Felix and Mary, you're a beautiful couple. I would love to visit you in Bolgatanga, sometime. So maybe I will see you, but thank you so much for sharing what you're doing with us. Really, really inspiring. We really appreciate that. Oh, you see, technology. Just when we wrap up the conversation, they got frozen. But, I guess the conversation has been had, really. And I hope that you too can do something little in your community to make the lives of others better. Well, we'll take a breather when we come back. We're talking about the flood issue, just little rain. Sometimes they say tiny drops, and then you hear that a place is flooded. Many parts of Accra and then Kaswa as well were flooded last Saturday. We will share what people posted on social media with you, but we will also talk about the solution and what is really being done. Can we fix this at all? Or is it going to be like this and get worse in the future? That's all coming up here on The M Show.